in the
Not
world.
because of that, because they were built by merit, and it's being destroyed by diversity.
And they use DEI to get that merit.
That was blatantly racist. That was just a blatantly racist comment.
Your argument is that DEI takes away merit.
It does.
But if interrupt me so he can win. Go ahead. You want to do that, right?
You're getting too worked up here, man.
Your daughter, right? She decides to get a job, right? And unfortunately, it's that time of the month.
DEI's by force.
If you're just excluding race when we're doing the hiring process, how would that affect merit?
Wouldn't I prefer to have a 24-year-old man than a 69-year-old woman? Mr. Simple, you've said some very nasty things about me online, so the floor is yours.
Thank you, thank you. Simple question, Simple Black Theory. What do you think about blind hiring? Are you for blind hiring?
No.
No. So why not? Because blind hiring, for those you don't know, is
blind hiring is hiring people not based off their race, gender, I think age too, but mainly race and gender. Not hiring people based off that, and hiring people solely on their merits, not anything else.
Based on merit, where you don't
it's
look.
not.
So what's blind hiring?
Okay.
Blind hiring would be that you do not put the race actually when you submit for, actually you don't even see the person when you interview them for a job.
No. That's
Okay.
one part of blind hiring. There's
Okay,
multiple ways to do blind hiring. But at the end of the day, blind hiring is exactly not knowing the person's race, age, or gender. That's based on merit. Like you said, you want merit, correct?
Well, hold on. Those things can factor into merit as well. For example, if I'm trying to hire for an Amazon warehouse worker, and all of a sudden I find out that they're at 69 with 1 year left from retirement and the age is not disclosed, wouldn't I prefer to have a 24-year-old man than a 69-year-old woman who's over?
Okay, that's one instance, I guess. But besides, let's say we took out age and let's say we took out gender, what about race? If you're just excluding race when we're doing the hiring process, how would that affect merit? Because I can understand for certain situations, I can understand age, fine, like warehouse workers and stuff. Gender, I think if you can lift what you need to lift, like again for a warehouse worker, other than that, I wouldn't see any reason why you would need to include gender. But race, there's nothing a white person can do that a black person can do, unless that's what he truly believes. I don't know.
Have a full picture of a human being is when you hire them.
So you care about diversity?
No, actually I don't.
Why? Because that's basically merit. You're focusing solely on merit. You said you want meritocracy.
Just to be clear, if diversity happens naturally through meritocracy, great. If all of a sudden we have people
DEI.
that, well, no, it's not. DEI is by force.
So let me
DEI,
explain that.
No.
Go ahead.
I gotta interject.
Go ahead.
Okay, I hopefully he's gonna give a very nice, clear and concise definition. But DEI is supposed to be including or giving more opportunities to minority groups or to people of different races and genders, ages. You're supposed to extend these options to those people where they otherwise might not get those options. Like, for example, in schools, in certain areas, there's a very low amount of diversity among teachers. Like some schools have a very high amount of really just white teachers. So you want to have more people of color come into jobs like that, especially for like kids who want to have some form of role model to look up to. Not saying that their role model has to look exactly like them, but it's nice to have role models that do look like you, especially for kids. Like when you're growing up, it's kind of strange to think like, wow, like everyone that I look up to, no one looks like me. Like I feel like that also builds some stereotypes in the mind of children too, but whatever.
So let's get into the NBA, for instance, right? Can we both agree at one point black people weren't allowed into the NBA, and then they allowed them to be in the NBA? Wouldn't that be considered diversity? Wouldn't that be DEI in itself?
No. It's actually the opposite. You see, you're mistaken, my friend. It's actually, we're getting rid of any racial stereotyping. What happened was actually a form. No, DEI is racial stereotyping. So what actually was before was a form of
he's just wrong.
white.
DEI is not supposed to be racial stereotyping. Again, DEI is just supposed to be expanding the opportunity to people of different races and genders, age groups, things like that. It's supposed to extend the opportunity to those people. I don't. The other guy has to explain this more clear. It's not hiring people just because we want to hit a certain number of black people for this month. No, it's supposed to be we want to extend the opportunity to black people, Indian people, white people, Asian people. We want to extend the opportunity to everybody, and then find those people who have the merit to come into the workplace. That's what the point of DEI is.
Preference DEI, which is white supremacy or whatever, and then we got rid of it. We said we're not going to discriminate it, and the quality of play got better. Do you guys see the difference between the two?
So, for an example of DEI is basically your daughter, right? She decides to get a job, right? And unfortunately, it's that time of the month. She goes into the bathroom. Calm down, calm down, calm down. She goes into the bathroom. Stop.
Okay.
She's going into the bathroom.
You're losing the audience, man.
I don't care.
He's losing me too.
So she goes into the bathroom, right? And she goes into the bathroom and gets a tampon or a pad that's been given from the job. That is DEI. That is literally, yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
I don't know why he had to do that.
You don't know. That's
that
great.
strange
So if you don't know your daughter, right?
But sure, okay.
Interrupt me so he can win. Go ahead. You want to do that, right? Executive Order 11246. They say that DEI is focusing on a safer environment and a more equitable environment within the workplace and the hiring process. Let's look at Google. Google actually does DEI. You know how they do DEI? Your daughter, right? Give me an example of, do you know Google's DEI?
Hold on, let's get back to the core macro tenet, which I think is very important.
Correct.
Which is, wouldn't you prefer a country built on excellence and merit,
That is
not
what
one
DEI does.
based on forced pigmentation diversity? Why does somebody's skin color matter? No, tell me, what differences do you as a black man and me as a white man have, and why does it matter?
Okay, so
Why does it matter?
So let's look at, because again, you don't understand what
I don't
DEI
know
is.
how
You're
he's
trying to put it in one
flip
stance,
this
which
the
is
other
not.
way. This guy right here. He's the one trying to say that it shouldn't matter. Your race should not matter when you're getting hired. He said that he wants to. Well, his form of what he said, blind hiring in the beginning. He wanted to exclude race, gender, ethnicity.
Not knowing the person's race, age, or gender.
He was excluding everything. So that's he's saying that it doesn't matter. You should only be hiring people based off merit. It's not the other guy is making the argument that it does matter. He wants to be able to see exactly who he's hiring when he's hiring them. That to me sounds like he cares about the race, or maybe he just wants a more personal touch. I don't know, but either way, what this guy is saying is definitely so much more merit based. Completely merit based. There's no personal touch to it at all. It's hiring someone based off do they have the work experience, do they qualify, can they do X, Y, and Z? All right, boom, they're hired.
So thank you.
There was
So
a prediction 10 years ago that Google would be the first $3 trillion company.
Right.
Turns out that it was actually Microsoft that was the first $3 trillion company. Now, of course, Alphabet is a very good company in a lot of different ways, but if your argument right now is like, well, because one of the biggest companies on the planet has embraced a bad idea, what is your argument exactly?
they're still one of the best companies in the world.
Not because of that, because they
What
were
do you-
built by
look,
merit,
you just
and
said-
it's being destroyed by
Exactly.
diversity.
And they use DEI to get that merit.
and-
Listen, if they're hiring people, yes, it makes sense. If you're doing a hiring process and you have a hiring committee that is DEI and they're hiring the people that's making the company as great as we just said, and
hasn't,
your
though,
argument
but
is that
the point is
DEI
that
takes away merit.
it does.
But if we see that Google is doing
No, he's finally saying it, but DI is extending the options to other people to get more people with the merit. Let's say you had a company and they were only hiring or only had applications being sent out to white people. Now, if you have applications being sent out to all races of people, you're going to find more people with merit. That's another part of it as well.
doing well and they're using DEI, how the hell are you
Time
saying
out.
that DEI is not making merit?
Why does skin color matter?
So, if we look at basketball, because you love talking about that, right? Can we both agree that at one point there was no black athletes, and then what happened? They diversified.
We got rid of forced segregation, which is a form of DEI.
And that diversified the basketball,
because
right?
it was based on merit.
Was it diversified?
Yes, but not
Thank
by force.
you
No, hold on a second.
very much.
Hold on, but if your argument is that if you want to make things more merit-based, then let's do it.
It is more
No,
merit-based.
hold on a
They
second.
made it diversifying. They diversified
Man.
basketball, bringing black people who are good in it.
Nothing you're
making
saying-
it diverse.
Yeah, he's exactly right. They extended the option to more people, being black people at the time, extending that option to more people. Now, more players who are qualified for the sport are now able to play. There was more qualified people in the sport. That's the entire point. Yes. How is that not merit based? That not merit based, but it gets more people with the merit to have the job. I don't understand what Kirk's argument here is.
Nothing you're saying is making any sense.
Oh, okay, I bet.
Because what they did,
of course
is
you don't.
The NBA went to pure merit, pure excellence. Are you good at this? That's all they cared about.
They allowed black people in, right?
Exactly, because prior.
Okay, then.
Hold on. Because you know what they had prior was a form
right now,
of racial.
Sorry, they're just talking past each other. Like, this guy is trying to say, online troll, I guess. Online troll is trying to say that you giving the option to more people is the DEI. This Charlie Kirk is saying that DEI was segregating black people. That's not even. Let's even say that definitionally that was correct. That's obviously not what we're talking about. We're not talking about DEI to exclude more people. We're talking about DEI to extend the options to more people. What he's talking about right now, there, extending the options to more people, is the proper use of DEI. Yes, I don't understand what Charlie Kirk's argument here is. He's like trying to do the Uno reverse card on this argument. I don't get it.
DEI is racial quotas. End of story.
Give me one racial quota.
United
Give me one.
Airlines.
I googled that.
So
go
yeah.
ahead.
Oh,
I googled it.
Okay, great.
Yes.
So
go ahead. Go ahead. Continue.
What did United Airlines announce? Because you know what I said about black pilots. What did they announce when it came to pilots? And why should skin color matter when you board an airplane?
So just to remind everybody, it's Charlie Kirk's idea. He basically, stop talking. So Charlie Kirk said that they're basically hiring women of color to make 40 or 50%, right? But when you actually look into it, what happens is...
Women and people of color.
Right, women and people of color. What happens is they're creating a program that's allowing women to train and become pilots. If you actually look at the requirements for these programs, it's nothing different than any other program that trains pilots. But you told people that they're just hiring women when that's not true.
First of all, I never said that.
Yes, you did. I did a video on it, guy.
Yes, I know what I said. Secondly, when you hire based on race and not on excellence, you end up compromising the standards of excellence.
They're not hiring based on race,
Allow me to finish without interrupting.
All right, go ahead.
When you hire based on race and not on excellence, you end up compromising.
Like, see, this is just so unproductive. They're not even talking to each other. They're talking past each other. I don't know who Charlie Kirk is talking to right now. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Online troll. I know you said your name in the beginning.
Your daughter, right?
But what online troll said in the beginning, what he's been saying this entire time is that DEI is just to expand the opportunities to other people. Charlie Kirk is making the argument that DEI, like he just said, DEI is just hitting a racial quota, getting these I need a certain amount of black people at my company, and so if they're not gonna agree on a definition of what DEI is, there's not even there's no conversation to be had. If DEI was, I need a certain number of black people at my company, and there's no merit anything there, they can be right out of high school, dropped out, I don't care. They can just come to my no, that's not what we should. I would disagree with that too. Yeah, I wouldn't want that kind of DEI. The DEI that this guy is talking about, the DEI that I'm talking about, is DEI that expands the opportunities to those people. If they don't have the requirements, if they don't have the background for it, they don't get hired. I'm completely fine with that. You wouldn't hire someone, you wouldn't lower qualifications for a job just to get more people of color in. You expand those opportunities. You do the most that you can, so people who do have the merit and are a person of color do have the opportunity to get hired. That's the entire point.
Would you rather have a pilot that is qualified or one that is diverse? Answer the question.
That makes no sense. Why is there two different things? How is it different? When you go to American Airlines...
Because in the pursuit of diversity,
I really think the only thing that he's supposed to say right here is that I want one who is qualified. But during the hiring process, I want to make sure that everyone got an opportunity for the job. Of course, I want them to be qualified. Qualified comes first, but you have to extend the opportunity to everybody. That's the point.
Sacrifice excellence every time. We know this with Harvard.
Right.
We know this. We're going to go from 4% of the pilots being black to 50% of the pilots to be black. It begs the question: you are going to lower the standards.
So my
you are
question
going
is,
to, you're going to put a square peg through a round.
Okay, I have no idea. That was blatantly racist. That was just a blatantly racist comment. So if there is more black people in an industry, you automatically have to start questioning whether they're qualified or not. What does he mean by that? I don't know what he can mean by that besides just being just saying that if there's more black people, we have to question their qualifications. What does that mean?
Hole. You are going to force something that naturally is not happening, and you will all of a sudden be playing a very treacherous and dangerous game when you board a plane.
I forgot these.
Honestly, I think me and online I'm gonna keep calling you online troll. I'm so sorry.
Your daughter, right?
I think me and online troll agree with Charlie Kirk more than Charlie Kirk does. The entire point is to hire people based off their merit, to expand the opportunities to people, to get people with merit into these jobs. That's it, based off their merit. That's it. So if we exclude race, then we're hiring based completely off merit. If we exclude race from the hiring process, how could that not be based off merit?
So at the end of all this, what you basically told me is that if merit matters, it doesn't matter, because when we mentioned blind hiring, you said you're against that, which is based on merit.
No, time out. They said that they want to prioritize a group above what is meritocratic.
That didn't say that.
That's what United Airlines said. They said
I'm
half.
So confident.
They
Read
said
the
half.
executive order out loud.
We're talking about United
right
Airlines.
now.
We're not talking about the
in front of
executive order.
everybody.
Again, they
All right,
said
yeah,
half
next.
of all their
You got
new
cooked.
hires.
You got cooked.
Again,
hey, thank you.
We
Yeah, like I was saying, online troll did bring up some good points. He wasn't really explaining them the best that he could.
Your daughter, right?
Not including race while we do our hiring process is still merit based. There's nothing or non-merit based about that. That is completely merit based. This is something I think they should have established in the beginning of the conversation, because they're really just talking past each other. But DEI is to extend opportunities to people who may have not gotten them before, not just giving jobs to black people to hit a quota. That's not what DEI is supposed to be. Any form of that you're not supposed to agree with. You should just disagree with that automatically. That's a losing argument. DEI is supposed to extend opportunities to groups of people who might not have had those opportunities before. That's it, plain and simple. If you disagreed with anything I said, leave a comment. If you like the things I was saying, leave a like. Or you can also leave a comment down below. I'll see you guys later.